Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. I am really excited for this interview because I really have the great opportunity to meet this amazing team of educators, Miss Temitope and Mr. Abayomi. Thank you for being here with us today. We are delighted.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us
much.
here.
All right. So, first of all, I would like to do the typical introductions. So, can you briefly introduce your school and your role?
All right. So I'm Temitope Adebimpe. I'm the executive director, Pearls Garden Group of Schools. We're a futuristic and a very innovative school. And our vision is to prepare our learners today for tomorrow's opportunities and global leadership. So my role at the school is just to translate this into real classroom experiences. Thank you.
My name is Olufemi, the head of academic high school. So just like the executive director have said, we are leadership school. And what we came into is to prepare learners that can solve problem solvers. So my role is basically to balance cognitive and project-based learning so that we can have a better future.
Thank you very much for being here. Just, for context, for those that are going to watch this video later and, of course, listen to this as a podcast, can you please repeat the name of your school and the location in the world?
Pearls Garden School is in Lagos State, Nigeria. And of course, Nigeria is in Africa. We are located in a middle income area, and we're super excited with the work we're doing within the environment.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adebimpe, because this context is really important and interesting since we are going to be analyzing your school's case and your trajectory as educators when it comes to artificial intelligence and everything that builds around it. Since the moment that we decided or that we heard about artificial intelligence in our lives. So here goes my first question for the both of you. What challenges or goals led you to explore AI?
I think for us, I would say that it's not really about the challenge, but about the vision. I said earlier that our vision is to nurture and prepare our learners today for tomorrow's opportunities and global leadership. And if we look at the trajectory today, the pace in technology, the incursion and the infusion of artificial intelligence, it's super important that we put our learners at that pace to be able to function effectively tomorrow in order to be able to have access to the opportunities that are going to be present in their tomorrow. So for us, the first thing that propelled us into artificial intelligence is our vision. So that's the main thing, not a challenge. However, of course, there are challenges as well, because we keep asking ourselves, how do we make learning, how do we make it adaptive? How do we make it engaging? How do we make it future ready? A number of our parents are complaining, oh, technology is distracting the learners, social media is taking them away. So we're looking for opportunities. And we know that artificial intelligence is not something that we can sweep under the carpet. It has become a part of us. Wherever in the world you're living, it's a part of us. So the question is, how do we make learning adaptive? How do we make it engaging? How do we make it future ready? How do we make learners self-directed learners? Because in this day and age, you see a lot of massive open online courses. People are upskilling, they're skilling up themselves to better their opportunities, to scale their productivity. So if our learners are going to be at that level where they need to learn the things that they need to use to better their lives, they must be used to self-directed learning. And I think artificial intelligence is a major player in this role. So we want something adaptive, engaging, and future ready for our learners.
I love the phrase that you have just said about that AI cannot be put under the carpet. This is such an interesting metaphor since I believe that there are still many institutions and many educators that on a professional level, and when it comes also to their institutions, they're still having that feeling that AI or AI integration, or let's be even more profound, AI literacy can continue found. I would like to ask, around what time, what year is it that your school decided to start the AI implementation?
I think that we really started about roughly a year and a half or 2 years ago. That's when we started this conversation, the usage of technology by the team members within the school and by the children. It also started with the fear from parents. Oh, take technology away from our children. They're distracted. They don't want to learn. They're not as smart. They're not focused and all the rest. So we started that conversation. And then when we started seeing as a futuristic school that artificial intelligence, this is going to be a big deal and it has to be a part of us. We started the awareness on a school community basis to our parents, to our learners, to our teachers. And the first thing we did was to develop AI usage guidelines in our school. So we had to share this to our parents to say, this is the guideline. These are the rules or the guidelines for our students, for our team members, and for you, our parents as well. So we started the awareness, we started having conversation for the teachers within the environment. It's a consistent meeting, interactions, and trainings for us. It has not stopped. We're still at that level. And with our parents, we had a major artificial intelligence conference with them for them to understand, to allay their fears. Because honestly, even for a number of them that say, oh, we understand, we're also at that space, we still see that fear in them. Our children are no longer creative. So that conversation, we had it with them and with our students as well. We had this AI conference to talk about the pros, the cons, and the opportunities that are available for them.
Now, the next question goes for both of you. How did you handle staff training, privacy, ethics, and ensure equity and inclusion from the start? Because I see in a very, I admire the fact that you decided to include all the stakeholders from the very beginning. And I think that this was a very smart move. So I'm going to repeat, how did you handle staff training, privacy, ethics, and ensure equity and inclusion from the start?
Oh, well, for us, I told you earlier that we started with a lot of awareness and teacher training. Our system has been one that values trainings for our teachers. We're always constantly having conversations about what's new in education, where is education going? And then with the fact that in recent times, we've seen a lot of teachers pulled out of the school system to stay in the online space. So we're always there to have this conversation. What are the challenges? How can we do things in a new way and in a new method? What opportunities are there? How can they scale their productivity? How can they reduce burnout? And how can they also use this platform for revenue opportunities for the teachers, even away from the four walls of school? So it's a constant thing. At the minimum, we have trainings at the beginning of every term, at the middle of every term, and at the end of every term. Not trainings whereby we're just pouring information into teachers. No, more like interaction. What's the challenge? What's the problem? This is a new thing we're seeing. How do you see this? So we're always having that conversation. And I think Mr. Bayomu should also, give us his feel on this one, since he's really at that space.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. In that regards, I must give a kudos to Mrs. Adebimpe, because for every time, for every session, we do have a lot of training. As a matter of fact, we have a research team, an organization that's into various tools, various new tools to use as regards to education. And each time we want to have this training, it's not just about us, the theoretical part, it's always engaging. It's always a way for us to transform education whenever we are getting back to the classroom. So it's really awesome. And for me, I would say that for us at Health Guidance School, we don't just say, okay, we want to resume a new term, and what we just want to do is what we have been doing before. We look for new ways. We look for what is actually the problem, what is the challenges that people are facing in education. Then we look for a solution, and we bring it to the school system. We train the staff members, and everybody take it back to the learners. So
what I love about this insight that you are both sharing is that there is an ongoing conversation with all the stakeholders that is nonstop. Since you already have done the trainings of the fundamentals, I was curious to learn a little bit more about how did you decide which AI tools were appropriate to use? How did you gradually introduce it into your school ecosystem?
All right. Thank you very much. Like Mr. Bayomi said the other time, we actually have a research and development team that we have these trainings with. And like I said, it's always conversational. It's a lot of interactions. So teachers are going to talk about their challenges. We're going to talk about the areas that are overwhelming. And then we're going to look at, okay, what opportunities are there to reduce the stress and to scale productivity. We don't just bring like a particular tool. We'll talk about various tools that are available and that can be used. And we test out and teachers present. They use this, they present, they talk about it, they talk about the preferred one before we now decide, oh, we're going to use this 1, 2, 3 for the term based on their choice.
Well, this actually brings me to the very much feared question, what went better than expected and what was the hardest thing? Because usually what is good, we always like to be very proud about it and we like to showcase it all around, but we try not to talk about what failed. So I would like to start from that one and then tap into the things that actually worked well. So first, what were the things that were really hard initially and then that became better?
Well, for me, I'll be waiting to hear Mr. Bayomi's perspective as well. I think the main challenge that we have, or that I can call a challenge at this point in time, is still the parent's perspective. Do you understand? The parent's perspective. A number of parents are still very, very fearful of what's happening. They're still very fearful about the level of the students' self-control. So you want to assign things to the students to do on their own during their independent time. The parents are afraid to leave the children with devices and access to the internet. And it's impossible for us to limit everything that we want to do within the hours that we have at school. So we need that continuity at home, especially when we're talking about self-directed learning and they have these activities, they have research to do and all the rest. And the parents are saying, I'm not going to release internet access. I'm not going to allow the children to have access to devices. It really stalls our work. It stalls our work a lot. And of course, with a few team members as well, I can proudly say the majority of our team members have keyed into AI usage and the ethics as well, and they're using it really well. But of course, we have some new team members or some who just want to also lift content from AI without vetting, without ensuring they match up to the objective of the learning and just drop it out there. And of course, the student themselves that also want to bypass and just want to drop content and material just from AI and drop it as my own work. It's a very delicate balance. We're still trying. We're also looking into ways we can actually make it open, where the student themselves can share their prompts. Can you please share your prompts? What are the results? How do you agree with the results? So that they know that, okay, we're asking you to use, but tell us, how did you use? How did you get it? What are your own thoughts? so that they become free to say, oh, we use, but these are our thoughts and our feel. So I think that's the main challenge. It's still from all the stakeholders, the parent side, the student side, and from the educator side as well. But I'm sure Mr. Bayomi will also have a perspective from the educator side.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Let me start with the last point, talking about from the learner's part. Recently, I encountered a situation whereby I gave a task to my learners, like an assignment for them to do at home. And then when they return back to school, I actually noticed that this is actually AI response, though it's not a problem. They can use the AI. I usually tell them you're free to use the AI. But what I usually tell them is that I have an understanding of whatever you want to take from the AI. So they all scored on. And I went to the class, I said, okay, can you come out and defend what you have done? And it became a problem, like only one person could defend. So, and I told the rest, okay, so you use the AI. I don't have a problem with you using the AI. My concern now is that can you present this to anybody and you'll be sure that, okay, you've done the right thing and the problem setting. So I told them that in as much that I scored you 100%, I'm going to mean it on your notebook that you could not defend this assignment. So you are still going to go back home and you are going to review, then you come back and defend. Then I cannot score you your actual score. So the learners, they felt so bad that, okay, they couldn't defend. And I'm going to deduct their math. But the good part of it, they went back home and the next class they returned and they were able to present. I was happy with them. So the challenge is there. You have the student want to bypass the authenticity of learning and they just want to go to the internet, use the AI, then just copy whatever without having a single on what they are doing. So it's really a big challenge.
And I also think that's where we as educators, we need to keep thinking through of how else we can do these things. And I think it's important that we continually rethink assessment beyond the pen and paper, beyond the submission, to pitching, to presentation, to a panel session where the children actually sit or the students actually sit and pour out their learnings rather than being in a corner, to copy out things. I really think we need to rethink assessment with the incursion of artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Yeah. Basically, it helps a lot because to what you just said, if we have not had the presentation, probably they wouldn't have had the privilege to come back. And
Exactly.
even aside that, during one of my classes as well, I have to give them a PowerPoint presentation. And some of them, they were able to come back to present. Though I know they use AI, some were able to do the right thing, do the right presentation, while some are having challenges. This is expected. We have different learners and we keep working with all of them to ensure that everybody do the right thing and no student is left behind. Thank you.
Well, this is incredibly fascinating, especially because in terms of mindset, which is one of the most difficult things that we have to tackle now, every time that we're talking about AI implementation in our educational systems, what changed most in the teaching format, learning, or staff work since you started utilizing AI basically from last year to now?
Mr. Bayomi, I think you should take that up.
Okay, so basically, there's an inclusion in the timetable, the teaching timetable. So already in the timetable, we have this space for AI literacy. So we are not just doing that, okay, maybe anytime we like, but because we have it on our timetable, it becomes a norm. It's what we now do. Then at the same time, our team members, we ensure that they make use of AI, not just for them to come and teach, but they themselves, they understand how to make use of this AI. And in turn, they can be able to explain to the student themselves how they can use it safely. So I hope that answers what you're trying to ask me, but if not, I can still get better clarification.
Okay, I think I got a different perspective to the question. So let me come in And then Andy can decide on the thinking pathway she was actually talking about. But I'm thinking that she's saying that how has our teaching and learning been affected by the inclusion or the usage of AI? And for me, from my perspective, I think it has really boosted teacher efficiency. A lot of teacher burnout, a lot of complaints. Oh, my lesson plans are not ready. I'm sorry, I'm still working on it. They have to build this PowerPoint. They have to search out for these videos. They are tired and everything. But artificial intelligence has actually scaled teacher efficiency and productivity. They now spend less time on this repetitive task. They are able to generate slides for teaching easily. They can generate as many as they wish in a particular day. And I think for the student themselves, recently one of our students presented something during the summer camp, and she made a game. She made a math game. I think it was on quadratic equation or something, and she was having issues with quadratic equation. And then she used Lovable to build that. This is great. This is actually the essence of artificial intelligence, where children or students can actually go ahead and build and structure their own learning and gamify their own learning and adapt the learning to suit themselves. And with this little success that we're recording, parents are getting better at saying that, oh, okay, there are actually cons, but we have a number of pros to the usage of artificial intelligence in our environment.
Okay, let me just quickly buttress on what Mrs. Adebimpe mentioned. Okay, so basically the AI helped us a lot, particularly me. Most of my lesson plans, I made them with Lovable. And recently I showed one of our new team members that, okay, look at my plan. You can actually use Lovable to create plans. And he was like, did you do all this using this AI? I said, yes. And it was curious. How did you prompt it? How did you do this? And the question was kind of unlimited. You just want to explore. And I said, okay, it's just a step at a time. It's not just a single AI. We combine lots of AI and the product come out fine. So the truth of the matter is that it makes the planning more easier, more efficient, and also easy to deliver. You can imagine having an app where you have your video, you have your PBL, you have your quiz, you have your games, and everything is embedded in just one single app. The entire content, the entire delivery for the class, you have it there. Not that you get to the class, you have to start looking for video, you have to start looking for this and that. But because of this AI, which is the Lovable app, as the US just mentioned, it makes the work so easy for the teachers, the educators to deliver to the learners. Thank you.
Honestly, I'd like to quickly come in and say something there. I'm actually very amazed at some of the things that my team members do. I'm in the administrative space. But when they start sharing some of those beautiful resources that they have come up with, I'm very wowed, and I'm very thankful for artificial intelligence, because now they don't have to keep searching. Unlike before, Google, you're searching, where's the best worksheet? Oh, where's the best game? Oh, where's the best video? Teachers can actually sit and create everything exactly the way they want it, that will speak to the objective they're trying to achieve. That's massive, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Being able to materialize your thought is absolutely one of the winning games, and as they so say online, like game-changing experience. For me, that is the game-changing experience about artificial intelligence, that are experts in their areas as we are as educators. The most important thing is to learn to magnify that expertise that we have. And second, how can we translate that into doing the same for our students? So I am taking in everything that you're saying, and I am so in love and amazed, especially with this student that have been using Lovable. How incredible was for this student to actually see and transform that thought into something that can even be a future business model, can be a product in the future. This is actually quite inspiring for our students. Now, tapping that into the journey that we have done with our schools and the implementation of AI, looking back, what is one thing that you would have done differently?
Oh, well, if there's anything I would have done differently is probably to have started this conversation way earlier than we started so that all our stakeholders will believe firmly in this. I think that's the only thing. I believe there's no system that is perfect, but I think that we have actually gone through a very good route of awareness, creating guidelines, running trainings, and testing out regularly. And we make it a continuous conversation. I think that's the right path to go.
Mr. Abayomi, would you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, for me, okay, let me say, how Charles Garden School. Charles Garden School really transformed me when it comes to the use of edtech tools, AI literacy, and the likes of it. So I wish I had this knowledge long before now. Maybe perhaps today I might have created my own AI that many people can also use.
Unfortunately, we are at the end of our conversation. I wish we could go longer with this because apparently all the things that you have achieved can serve very well, even as a model to follow for other educators and institutions out there. So, before we leave, what's your top advice for schools just starting out now?
Well, I would think that for schools starting out, don't hide from AI because that's our world. That's the new level. And it's obvious that a lot of other industries quickly adapt to this new innovation and changes, and education is usually the last to adapt. They have to treat AI as a cultural shift. It's very important. They need to start with guidelines, they need to start with ethics, they need to involve all the stakeholders, and they need to also educate their teachers that this is not about replacing them, because that's usually the fear. It's not about replacing them, but actually releasing them to focus on things that are truly important and also an opportunity for them to generate more revenue on their own.
Mr. Abayomi, would you like to add your final words too, since your collaboration has been also really important for the school as well?
Okay, thank you so much. So I will love to say teachers, educators, they need to change their paradigm. Many teachers still believe that why should we use AI? It makes them lazy, it makes the student lazy. So there's need for educators to change their paradigm, to know that has come to stay and it's for good. And also parents, so they need to embrace, they need to support the school system, not having the belief that, okay, their children might have issues using AI at home. So I just want all the stakeholders to have a change in paradigm. Then I believe we are all good to go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abayomi and Mrs. Adebimpi, for your time and sharing your experience with us. We'd highly appreciated. Your teaching will become our learning, and hopefully your advice and your points and experience will serve us well. Thank you very much for your time. I hope to see you around. See you soon, everybody. Thank you.